Also, at the everybody that attends this session, I'll make available a copy of the handout. It's not really essential to follow along. But this is, first of all, my name is Mike Devlin. I'm a productivity coach at Keller Williams. And this is a career session, a free informational session about real estate careers. I hope that's why you're here. The three things that we're going to talk about are: one is why real estate, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being in real estate. We're going to talk about how to choose an office to work with, and also we're going to discuss how to get started. What do you need to do to get a real estate license? How long does that process take? How much does all that cost? I hope that's what you came to hear, because that's what I'm talking about. Why real estate? First of all, what you can do with a real estate license. You probably already know that you could help somebody else sell their home, residential property, and get paid a commission. You also could do commercial property. It's the same license. Often people will say to me, well, I don't want to do residential real estate. I just want to do commercial real estate. How do I get that license? And there is no such thing as a commercial real estate license. There's just a real estate license. You also can do loans with a real estate license. Not only do you need a real estate license to work for a mortgage broker, but you also need to get that license endorsed, which is called an MLO, a mortgage loan originator endorsement, which means you have to take an extra 20 hours of classes and take a second loan examination, and then you're qualified to be a loan agent as well. But the starting point is a real estate license. I've had people say, how do I get a loan agent's license? And well, you have to start with a real estate license. And property managers need to have a real estate license if they don't own the property or live in it. And property managers are people that rent out, that assist others in renting out their property. They negotiate leases, they collect payments, they fix up the properties, and that requires a real estate license if you don't own it and don't live in it. Mortgage loan originators, as I mentioned, or require a 20-hour. I threw this slide in because people keep asking me about it, but it requires a separate course, 20 hours plus another exam in addition to the real estate exam. What attracts people to a career in real estate? Probably one of the biggest aspects of the real estate business that people find attractive is freedom and independence. I used to have, a long time ago, I worked for this company, and what they did I thought was sort of strange. But what they did that I thought was so odd is that they used to tell all of us what time we had to be at work each day. It was like they had some sort of a rule, right, that everybody had to show up by a certain time. They would tell us when we could go to lunch and how long lunch was. They would tell us at the end of the day when we could go home. That kind of an arrangement is called a job, I think. That's what that refers to. And being in real estate is not like having a job. If you walk around one of our offices and you open up all the doors and you look around, what you won't find are time clocks for agents to punch. You're an independent contractor. It's much more like having your own business than it is having a job. There's also a disadvantage to that for some people. There's an old saying that freedom is a gift not always wisely used. I remember a friend of mine, I asked him once the company he was working for, and I said, how long have you worked for this company? And he said, ever since they threatened to fire me. That's when he started working. So many people, you may know people like that, they work just enough so they don't get fired, and then the company pays them just enough so they don't quit. And that doesn't work very well in real estate, because real estate is a commission-only, non-salaried position. And that means it can be a high-paying hard job or a low-paying easy one. Financial rewards, the market has been down. It's picking up now. But even in bad markets, our top agents were making $400,000, $300,000. In good markets, it's sometimes higher than that. The financial rewards for people that work hard, the people that are serious and committed and are at the top of the game, do very well financially. Investment opportunities, a lot of people would like to buy real estate. If you want to invest in real estate, it's good to be in real estate. So people that are in the real estate business, we like to say we live on our commissions but retire on our investments. So we know more about what's going on in the market, see properties when they first are available, understand financing and trends better. And security, what I mean by security is, the market does fluctuate, but you can't really get fired. Right? You can. I have another friend who worked for 28 years for Hitachi as a mechanical engineer, and they laid him off after 28 years. And they said it wasn't anything personal because they laid off everybody in his department, everybody in that building. In fact, they closed the entire plant. Now, I'm not saying he was a perfect engineer, but even had he been one, he still would have been laid off, right? It wasn't that it had nothing to do with whether or not he was doing a good job. They just decided that what he was doing wasn't necessary to be done, at least not there anymore. In real estate, you can fail at it, but you can't get fired. In other words, if you're good at it, you can start your own office. You're an independent contractor. You can move someplace else. You can be bad at it, but somebody else can't decide that you're not necessary. There's some security in that. I threw this in because it was something that came out very recently, the last couple of weeks. Career Bliss, which I have to admit is a website I hadn't paid a lot of attention to, has a formula that they use to what they give is called a bliss rating. And they interviewed lots of different people from a variety of different professions, and real estate agents actually came out a little bit higher than engineers. I can't imagine that. Sales representatives, they have a list of all of the top 10. If you want to read more about it, it's Career Bliss, and they had the 2013 list of happy careers. In terms of real estate careers, there are different ways of positioning yourself. There's full-time. We have some agents that I would characterize more as big-time. There's part-time agents. Some people have other jobs or own other businesses, and their goals aren't the same as a full-time agent, but our system allows for that. We have what we call a dual career division, where we work with people that have other commitments. We have a referral-only division, which are for people that don't want to go to the trouble of joining the board and the MLS and showing property and doing all of that, but would still like to earn something by referring people to other agents. We have teams and mentoring programs that are also available for people that want to work on a team or have a mentor. The law of equilibrium, Gary Keller wrote a book called Shift, which came out a few years ago, and in the book, and he is, by the way, is the Keller of Keller Williams, he talked about something called the law of equilibrium, which states that the available income in a market determines the number of agents in that market. So basically what we're saying is that when the average amount of money that real estate agents are making is high, lots of people want to get into real estate. When it's low, then not so many people want to be in real estate. The low point of the income opportunity occurs when you have the largest number of agents and the least amount of money. But this is what I would consider the important part. The high income opportunity point occurs on the way up when the fewest agents are chasing the most amount of income. So one question is, do we have a lot of real estate agents now? And the answer is not compared to where we've been in the last decade. This graph represents the number of people with real estate sales licenses in the state of California, according to the California Department of Real Estate. The last month that they released statistics for was December of 2012, unless they've done it like in the last few days. And you can see that there was a peak in 2007 of the number of people with real estate licenses, but it's been falling every year since then. You have to go back 10 years to find this few people in California with a real estate license. This looks like a bad EKG, but this is from the law of equilibrium, and 2006 was about where the peak occurred in the real estate market. But there's this lag. So when the market is doing well, people are inspired to get into real estate. The time period, the minimum amount of time it would take you to get a real estate license if you were really focused is about 3.5 months. For many people, for this kind of a lag, which has to do with perceptions, it's really in the more of the period of a year or so. So when the market peaked and started to go down, the number of real estate agents, the tsunami of real estate agents, hadn't quite hit the beach. I was doing career sessions like this and teaching real estate classes back in those years, and I used to rent a large meeting room at the West End Hotel in Santa Clara because I had 130 to 160 people in class. For those of you that are online, I just want you to know we don't have quite that many. We don't have quite that many today, right? But what happens is that and the idea is that when it peaked, which was after the market had already started to go down, that's when there was the least amount of money. That on average, now agents that have been in the business for a while and are professional are somewhat consistent. The market goes up and down, but they do well in bad markets as well as good. There's just this larger group of people that move in and out, depending on how well things are going. So where are we now in this graph? Well, particularly in California and particularly in the Silicon Valley area, the market is bounced up and is picking up steam. I've had, even now, every once in a while, although much less now than it was a few months ago, somebody will say, when do you think the market's going to hit bottom and rebound? It has, right? It happened actually quite a while ago. And so what's happening is that the real estate market is picking up, but I get a list every week from the Department of Real Estate that shows how many people are on the exam list, and it's still really low. What I'm saying is that it's probably a lot smarter as a plan to get into the real estate business when it's been down and picking up than it is to get into it when it was high but slowing down, right? And so this is, in my view, I've been through several of these cycles. This is the time to get started because the market is picking up. And soon I will have a lot more people in the class, right? Just the way it is. Choosing an office.